Let's see. Okay, so I can see the preview. Yeah. All right. I think we're almost live. We'll let some folks get in here quick. Just gonna make sure it's working.
Uh,
Fucking liveception right now. All right, we're live, Sammy Stats. Why don't you know what? We've been flip flopping the intro. I'm gonna let you do it this time. I'm gonna let you be.
sure,
I'll let you be the guy.
sure. Well, fellas, thank you for joining us today. Another episode of 10K Bets, joining live here with Boss Man. We got Royal Troon. It's the open week, which is obviously fantastic. I'm quite excited. I'm sure you are as well. What are your early thoughts here?
All right, I'll be the first one to say it. So Sammy Stats, we've done one of these shows for every single major. And every single time I started off by saying, doesn't it feel like the last one just ended? Does it feel like it was just last week or 2 weeks ago that Bryson hit the Payne Stewart shot, won the Open, got drunk with Donald Trump Jr., hit the ball when he was drunk? We did that whole thing. And that
Yep.
felt like a week ago. Was that like a month ago now?
Yeah,
Oh
just about a month
shit.
ago. I
So I
tell you,
mean,
time flies.
summer's over. I mean, we're in the
Yeah,
middle of July right now, and because I'm gonna wake up tomorrow, it's gonna be over. It's so
I know.
insane.
It
But
sucks.
the British Open, it's the last major of the year. I mean, we have the Olympics, luckily, which is something at least. We have the
Mhm.
President's Cup in the fall. Ryder Cup will be back next year. But man, it's too early. It's the middle of July. Majors should not be over already. So
Yeah,
I'm
it
pretty
sucks.
I'm
It
pretty
does
sad
suck.
about that if I'm being honest.
I know they do push them together. Obviously in the golf season, they don't start off with one until kind of closer to the midway point. And then they just go one by one, just to start rattling them
They
off.
just jam
And
pack them
it
in. It's
sucks.
too much. It's too
Hmm.
much. Put one back in August. I don't care if the Open has to go back to August. I don't know why. I suppose it's because now the PGA Tour schedule is truncated to
Hmm.
conform to more of a live style, shorter schedule. So you got to move all the majors up and put them tighter together. It just sucks that this is the
Yeah.
last major of the year, and especially because this is the major that I think most people, including myself, watch the least of because it fucking starts at 3 in the morning because it's in England
Correct.
or
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that is the big bummer. Luckily, they do try to put it as much as they can on kind of a US viewing point where a lot of top guys will go off for their afternoon round at like 9 a.m. our time, which is
Yeah.
really not too bad. Obviously, you're not going to catch most of their morning rounds because it's in the middle of the night for us. But it's probably the best it could be. The Ryder Cup was horrible
Yeah, that
because
was
there was
that
less there
sucked.
was less people.
Oh,
They started it really on their time, and it's like 4 a.m. and I'm watching. Didn't sleep at all that week.
I didn't
But yeah,
either.
at least this is
Yeah,
a little better.
I didn't sleep at all Ryder Cup week either, and I've never had a worse excuse of losing that sleep considering that I stayed up all night on Thursday to watch the US team get clapped both at night in the first 18 and later in the day when they blew the lead. Different show, different topic. This is the
Mhm.
British Open, Sammy. Where do you want to start? You just want to start with your favorites? Do you just want to get to brass tacks here?
Yeah, well, we'll just do a little rundown of Royal Troon.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
You're the course guy. Give us
hasn't
the
it
deets.
hasn't been here since 2016. It's a great course. It's your typical Scotland links course, trouble left, trouble right, got to hit the fairways. Par 71, 7,400 yards. It's going to be really fun. I mean, I think just like any British Open tournament, you got to hit the fairways. There's really no way out of it. You can't really bomb the ball. There's danger everywhere. It's gonna be really fun. It definitely depends on weather, as far as how the wind is doing, and what it's doing. to make it a lot more challenging for these players. But I'm very excited for it. It's going to be great. If there's no wind, no rain, these players are going to eat it up. But it's Scotland, and there typically always is some bad weather. So that's why people love this tournament, because it's just carnage. And I'm pretty excited for it.
Does it ever make you wonder when you watch these tournaments, like you watched the Scottish Open last week, you watch the Open this week in Scotland? Do you ever wonder, seeing why it's always freezing cold there and raining, why in the flying hell that anyone decides to live there? I
I
mean,
know.
I get, and people would probably say the same about Minnesota, which is fair, like for half the year, but
Right.
it is crazy that it's the middle of July, which should be it's the month where the sun is where the Earth is closest to the sun, so it should be the warmest of the year. And this place is just always dark. It's always cloudy. I heard earlier this year that like England almost went into complete panic because they got up to 70 degrees for a few days, and they don't
Right.
have air conditioning because it never
Yeah, they
gets that
don't.
warm there, which
We
is
don't have AC.
so like, why are people living there? That's once again another topic. I guess I'm just fucking on one right now about England. But yeah, I mean it's a typical major, the open style course. It's long, it's not forgiving. I'm guessing the greens are huge. They're probably difficult. There's a lot of tricky decisions you got to make when you're maybe 5 feet, 10 yards short of the green,
Yeah.
and you got to putt well, especially from really long distances. So, yeah,
Yeah, you got to stay out of the pot bunkers. There's a
yes.
million pot bunkers that are between 3 and 7 feet deep.
That's
You
always
really
the
got to try
best.
to.
That's
What was
always
that?
the best is when a guy is like in one of those bunkers and you don't see him till like the ball, like you just see the ball fly out and it says their name at the
Right.
top, but you can't see any part of their body or even the
I
club.
know.
It's
Yeah, no, it's
absolutely
great.
wild. Yeah.
It definitely creates a whole nother element of how you're gonna play this course. A lot of people are like, oh, just get it up there. If I'm in a greenside bunker, I'm fine. But here that's not the case. Maybe in America that's the case, but here you really want to avoid these pot bunkers, and it's no easy up and down from them. To make par, to make birdie on the longer par fives.
Sometimes you got to go
Um,
backwards out of them.
right. Yeah. They're
That's my
treacherous.
favorite part about those bunkers is when motherfuckers are lined up in completely 180 and
Yeah.
they have to hit a full swing shot out of the back of the bunker because that's the best place to go. It's nuts.
Yeah. And if your ball rolls in and goes right up on the lip, I mean, you're pretty much dead.
Yeah, take it unplayable at that
So
point.
right. The pot bunkers are a really bad place to be. And on a lot of these holes, for sure, half of them, the entire green is surrounded with two, three, four of them. So iron play is really important. This week, I would say more important than any other week. If you can just get on that green in regulation, even if it's a 40, 50 foot putt, you're gonna have a better chance at least saving par, if not making a long birdie, than you would if you were in one of these pot bunkers. And that's just the British Open. I mean, that's just kind of their forte, and so yeah, you got to be a really good ball striker here, and you absolutely have to find the fairway.
All right, so we talked the golf course. Since we do things a little differently around here, let's take a little bit different approach to this show. Tell me right now your top three players who are not winning this golf tournament.
Oh
And
boy.
and you can't pick like no names. These have to be guys that are probably in the top 20 names
Okay.
that are of odds. I don't know what you're looking at.
Yeah.
I'm looking at ESPN Bet right now, looking at the top 20 names, and
I'm gonna
yeah,
say
pick.
number one is Xander. I don't think
Yeah,
Xander has it this week. His open resume is not great. It's okay. They got him at like 11 to 1.
he's a
I
Cali
think it
boy.
should be
He's
higher.
gonna get cold.
Uh, yeah, yeah. So Xander for me, that's number one. Number two, and this could really come back to hurt me. But I'm gonna go against Scotty this week. I went
Yeah,
against Scotty at the US Open. Again, it's gonna come down to short game. He can find fairways. He's an unreal ball striker, but his putting and short game some weeks can be just worthless, like
Yeah.
bottom of the field, worthless. Um, Scotty hardly made the cut um, at the US Open. And last year at the British, he needed like a birdie on 18 just to make the cut.
Which is what he did
Um,
on 18 at the U.S. Open. It
right,
was looking like he was going to miss the cut, and he, for the first time, by the way, in like 3 years, which is bananas.
right.
But
So I'm not on the Scotty train. I definitely, I would maybe pay him at 10-1, but 4.5-1, it's just something I'm uninterested in. That's another guy. Yes, he's the betting favorite. But I just, based on his short game, his putting, I'm not sure how much he loves the conditions as far as links golf. I'm just going to stay away from Scotty this week. I'm sure he's going to be a fan favorite, a betting favorite.
okay, so you got
But
Scotty Xander, who's your third person that's not going to win this golf tournament in the top 20.
my third person who's not going to win this golf tournament is Tommy Fleetwood.
Yeah.
Tommy Fleetwood.
He might not ever win any tournament, honestly.
Yeah, he's a top 15 player in the world.
Sad.
He is back in his, home country or home kind of territory, land. I just don't think he has it. He's always up there in the odds, but I can't get behind Tommy. I have yet to see him win a tournament on the PGA. I don't believe he has one. I think he's got like 8 on the DP World Tour,
Yeah.
but again, he's like 20-1, and I think it should be a hell of a lot higher. I am fading Tommy Fleetwood this week.
Yeah. Tommy is like the easiest guy to root for, so it hurts to say it, but
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to win this tournament either. You already picked him, so I'm going to go with 3 different ones.
Okay.
The first person I have in the top 20 odds who's not going to win this golf tournament is, drumroll, John Rahm. John Rahm. Holy shit.
Okay.
John Rahm is just having such an off year. I know he's had some injuries, but it seems like ever since he made the move to live, he's just lost that competitive edge. He's lost that fiery spirit. I mean, how can't you when you get paid the amount of money he got paid to basically just exist, not
Right.
on the PGA Tour? So, I mean, I think he miss? No, he barely made the cut at Augusta.
Yes.
He missed the cut at Valhalla.
Yep.
PGA.
And then he
withdrew
did not
from the
play
U.S. Open
at Pinehurst.
because of his foot.
Yes.
He was walking around with a flip flop and a shoe, if I remember correctly, which was a funny look. I mean, he has the potential, I think, to maybe do it, but he's so far behind this year, just with the injuries and with the setbacks from earlier in the year. And like I said, he might be one of those classic examples of just like Cam Smith, who was a number 1 player in the world for a little bit, took the money, and now just doesn't really have that pressure to be the best. And why would he?
Right.
He's a 100 millionaire, whatever you want to call it. So
Yeah, I think both of those guys you just mentioned, Rahm and Cam Smith, they definitely have the talent. Both of them are major winners already.
They're both Europeans, so
again,
they should be built to win this course. But
right.
the live thing,
I
man.
just I would I be surprised? I really wouldn't with those two guys, but based on how they're playing, it's not enough for me to back them this week.
Yeah.
Cam Smith, unbelievable putter. What he did on Sunday at St. Andrews in the 2022 Open
Incredible.
was unbelievable. He made 5 or 6 birdies in a row to topple Rory. But again, it's just that was 2 years ago. Both have been battling some injuries in the past. I really can't get behind them. I know their odds are pretty good for the potential player they are. But again, I just pretty much can't get behind them.
Yeah.
We're betting on numbers here, and at those numbers, I think they should be even higher just based on how they've been playing.
Okay, yeah. So he is my first, Mr. John Rahm. My second, 2 spots below that, is Victor Hovland. He is not going to win the British Open this year. I mean, he's gotten better over the course of the year, but for whatever reason, why you would completely remake your swing right after winning the PGA Tour, the FedEx Cup, is beyond me. Victor's just not been in it this year. He's had some good finishes. I don't think he has a win this year, does he?
No, especially his performance at the Ryder Cup too.
Yeah,
So
incredible.
you
You would
you
it'd be a
piece all
different,
three
yeah,
of those together
crazy.
and then switch your swing. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
I mean, they talk about
But
it
no,
on,
Hovland.
yeah.
I I think he's winless this year, if I'm not
I
mistaken.
think, yeah, he's definitely winless this year, and he's another guy who I believe missed the cut at the Masters. He did he?
Sounds right.
I think he.
Sounds right.
All I know is I think at the U.S. Open he shot 8 over the first day. He was in second to last, right next to JT. So I mean, just not his year. Whatever
Mhm.
happened in the offseason with his swing, I think once again he's just fighting back from. And then my third person that I believe is not going to win this tournament is Rory McIlroy. I'm just,
Oh,
I'm just, I don't
I
understand
love him this week.
how.
I love him this week.
I don't understand how you come back from what happened at
Yeah,
Pinehurst. I for
I
the
mean,
life
that's
of me
fair.
don't believe that anybody on planet Earth is mentally tough enough to come back from that. Um,
But if anyone does,
if
it's
anyone
Rory.
could, it could be him. But and trust me, this isn't me as a person, as a fan. I fucking would love for Rory to win. That would make it all the worthwhile. We've been waiting for another one to happen in his home continent. You know, when he had the heartbreak at Valhalla, when he had the heartbreak or at Pinehurst, you know, when he was in the mix at the Masters, in the mix again at the PGA. This would be the most historic win. However, I just
Can't
after
get behind it.
how close he got, so he if he can't do it that close, I just don't see how it could ever happen again. And like I said, I don't like saying that out loud, but it's what I think. I don't think Rory's gonna
Yeah,
win this golf tournament.
sure. The part of the reason I love it is just because it would be an epic comeback
For
story.
sure.
You have a collapse like that, especially after not winning one in 10 years. And then you come to this tournament and finally win. It would be insane. Um, I just think he has all the tools. He's played over here a lot in his career. I think his iron game's unbelievable. At that price, like 10 to 1,
Yeah.
I just truly think he'll be in the hunt, which kind of gives me some opportunity to hedge if I need to. But I would just much rather take Rory at 10 to 1 than Scotty at four
Oh,
and a
for
half to
sure.
one.
For sure.
That's just kind of my take on it. Um, I think it's only a matter of time for Rory. He is playing really good golf. It's just can he bounce back from the last major? We're about to find out.
I
Um,
think if he
but I
wins,
like taking a shot on him this year or this week. And typically I'm anti Rory, but for something I just really like him this week.
I feel like he either doesn't win the tournament or he wins the tournament by like 8 strokes.
Right.
I could see him coming hot out of the gate on Thursday, laying on the gas Friday, not even sniffing competition Saturday, coasting it Sunday, and winning by like I could see him doing what Brian Harman did last year. Honestly,
Mhm.
if he's gonna win, I don't think it's gonna be close. If it's gonna be close, it's hard to
He's
trust
probably
him.
gonna
It's
choke.
hard to trust
Right.
him. But I mean, for everything you mentioned, I mean, all the odds are pointing to this being his tournament.
Mhm.
Scotty's just not he's just not been able to play in other tournaments that aren't the Masters in terms of majors, and it's crazy that we haven't seen him hoist more championships. And who knows, maybe this will be the tournament where he says, you know what, I can't compete overseas and I'll show up. But I feel you there. Another favorite pick I like here that is 14 to 1, Ludwig Oberg.
Oh
Is
yeah.
He's been probably the hottest player in the majors this year
Yep.
in terms of guys who have been up there and haven't won. That was Xander until he finally won, and Bryson until he finally won. But Ludwig was, if I'm not mistaken, he was up 2 with like 4 to play last weekend and fell apart.
Yeah,
Um,
he was up 2 with I think 6 to play.
yeah,
He ended up bogeying a couple. He didn't make any birdies coming down the stretch. He really played fantastic. I'm sure he's quite disappointed with his finish, but for 3 days, I believe he was like 18 under or 16 under or something like that. He's just his ball striking is incredible.
short
He
game
hits
is
a ton of
awesome.
fairways. He's just kind of got the whole package. I think he would have been in that hunt a little more. in the US Open if he didn't make that like triple on that
Yeah.
just drivable hole that
Well, and
was
even the
uh
Masters. Remember the Masters?
the
Just came out of
Masters too.
nowhere
I
on
mean,
Sunday.
right there at the Masters. I really like him this week as well. He is on my card at 15-1. He is a golfer that I trust a lot. I think his game is at a very high level right now. And I would not be surprised if he gets his first of probably many majors this week here at Royal Troon.
Shit, you could even take him top 5 for plus 300.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
even if you're
exactly.
looking for a
Because
little insurance,
a
that's
lot of
not a
those
bad
times
pick.
too, your top fives are like you could be like five back from the leader, but you're still like T4,
Yeah.
which in other tournaments it's like, okay, you got five guys and they're all within two shots, so it's kind of hard to like get into that top five without like almost winning the tournament. But in some of these majors, like we saw in the US Open, you got five guys that are within two or three or four shots, and then there's quite a dip where you can be 10 shots back from the leader, but still crack a top 20 kind of thing.
Yeah, he's definitely going to be in the mix. That's all I know. He's going to be in the mix. Rory's going to be in the mix. It's a given. One more name I want to talk about before we talk about some underdog picks. Bryson. I mean, Bryson's probably the hottest golfer in the world. We haven't seen him since the U.S. Open because he's on the Live Tour. So, he's kind of a dark horse every time he comes in. It's not like with the PGA where you can see these guys play week in and week out and know who's hot, who's not. We haven't seen Bryson in a month. Do you think he's got a shot? I mean,
Oh yeah,
I
absolutely.
think
Does
this
he have a
this
shot? He's
this
on my card, 15-1.
yeah.
He was top five at Augusta, second at the PGA behind Xander. He won the U.S. Open. I mean, the guy's having like a historical major year, and he's doing everything right. His short game's awesome. He's finding fairways. Even when he's bombing the ball, he's finding fairways. He struggled on Sunday of the U.S. Open finding fairways, and it didn't even matter.
No, he's still able to
He's
punch out.
hitting a lot of greens. His putter is lights out. He saved a handful of 5 to 6 footers for par. I really like his game, all parts of his game this week. Again, I think he should be a higher favorite. I mean, 15
Yeah.
to 1.
16 to 1 on
I
ESPN.
could
This
see
is
it more
wild.
around the 6 or 7-1 range. I just think he's having a great year. He's been showing why he is one of the best players in the world. And yeah, I mean, I would not be surprised at all if he won this week. He's just on a tear.
Yeah, yeah. He's definitely also going to be in the mix this week, no doubt. And like you mentioned, his putting stroke, where his fucking arms are stiff like two boards, whatever. I've tried that. It doesn't work for me. But I'm also a amateur, so who knows?
Yeah, no, he really has found it with the putter. I mean, the putter arguably saved him the US Open. He's been playing really well, and it is thanks to the putter. I mean, whatever he's doing with his stroke, his reads are really good. Yeah, I think he's going to do great this week.
Yeah. All right, let's move into underdog picks. So, folks, if you don't know, 10K is an official partner of Underdog Fantasy. Everything we're about to talk about right now, you can do if you're in legal states, which I believe is 40 some of them that you can bet with Underdog, including Minnesota. If you download the Underdog Fantasy app or go to www.underdog.com, you can sign up with promo code 10K. I did hear that right now they're doing up to $250 deposit match. So if you put in $250, your account's at 500, which fucking rocks, especially before
Yeah, no
4 days
brainer
of
there.
golf.
Absolute no brainer.
And if you're a degenerate like us, you got the G League, you got baseball. Some people bet on Call of Duty. You got WNBA. There's plenty going on right now. Formula One qualifiers. That's a tradition of mine. I wake up hungover on a Saturday morning and I hammer the Formula One qualifiers. But Underdog's a really fun place. All you got to do is bet higher or lower on your favorite picks, your favorite players, your least favorite players, and you bundle them together and you can take home cold hard cash. So Anything else you got
Absolutely.
to
Yeah,
add
if
there,
you're
Sammy
not playing
Stats?
underdog, I'm not sure what you're doing.
Sammy Stats
It's
currently
a
has 50 cents in his underdog, so he's got to make one of those deposits.
I do. I do. Yep. I took money out. Now I got to put it back in. It's really nice, especially when you're watching golf. They have like 15 different things you can bet on for each player. You could bet on strokes, you can bet on what they're doing on specific holes, how many fairways they hit, how many greens they hit. There's so many, like where they finish that day, whether it's top 5, top 10, top 20. You can do that. There's so many cool things. I really like the accumulated par 5 scores. Obviously it's the easiest way for a player to make birdies, so I definitely like taking the lowers on those. But they just have countless things, and it's really fun. So again, you just piece a few together. 3x, 6x, 10x your money. Really a no-brainer.
Yeah, yeah, and the nice thing is compared to a pool, if one of your players shits the bed on Thursday, it's not like you're out of it Friday. You just pick a new lineup and a new card Friday, so
Correct.
you can just keep
Yep.
going.
Yep.
But
It's great.
we were talking about this before the show, dude. There's so many things on here to the point where it's kind of stressful. I mean, that's a great thing for underdog because they're like, hey, you want to bet on Victor Hovland's putts on 3 holes? Go for it if you're that big of a degen.
Right. Yeah, no, they
What
offer
are you
pretty
feeling
much
on here?
anything you could possibly think of. So you definitely have your options at underdog, and that makes it fun, right? Because some of these things you wouldn't be able to play elsewhere, so it's very fun.
All right, so let's piece together a little three legger here, Sammy Stats together. I'm gonna tell you one I really like.
Okay, hit me.
This one's boosted actually to 3.25x. Is
Okay.
Bryson DeChambeau 5.5 round one leaderboard position? So you're basically
Oh wow.
betting Bryson to be in the top 5 after day one, uh, and it's 3.25x boosted.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely it's obviously hard to hit. Asking for a player to be in the top 5 out of 144 guys on the first day is definitely hard to hit. I mean, that's why it's boosted for you. But again, he starts hot. He
Yeah.
started hot in every major he's played. So yeah, I mean, I for the boost, I do like it.
Okay. Yeah. What are you thinking on here? Like I said, there's so much going on that is stressing me out, which is,
Yeah.
it's a lot of
Um,
options.
I'm just looking
Oh,
through
how
it. Who
about
do I?
this? John Daly, lower or higher than 80.5 strokes.
Wow, they're really
They're,
giving him 9 over on the first day, huh?
yeah. I mean, what the
Yeah,
hell?
I mean, he's
Should we?
just out there to be out there.
That's
I
true.
would not. The problem with John Daly is I just don't know
He might
where
just,
his game is
he
at.
might
It's not
just
like we can
WD.
watch him.
He might just WD on hole 9 because he might just be sick of being sober, honestly.
True, true. One I really like for you. We're gonna go lower than 14 cumulative par 5 scores. There's 3 par 5s, so that's 15 strokes.
You just need them to go
Uh,
one under then.
so yeah, and these par 5s, if you hit the fairway, you're gonna have most likely an iron or a little hybrid in to some of these greens because they just roll forever. So I like the lower 14 cumulative par 5 strokes for Mr. Tony Finau. And I really like Tony Finau this week as well. 50 to 1. That's another guy that's on my card.
Yeah, there's like 13 different like props you can take on a single player, which is insane.
Yeah,
Um, okay, I'm literally locking this in. That's why I do this whole show is just to steal your picks. So I'm gonna go.
perfect.
I like that. So 14 flat. You're thinking he's gonna have 2 birdies at least?
Yeah,
Or
or an eagle.
yeah,
And even if he does have one birdie and 2 pars, then you just push that entry.
that's a
It's
good
not a
point. That's a
loser.
good point.
Um,
So
So yeah,
what are you
I like
bundling with that?
Finau on this golf course this week a lot. He's got a little low burner 3 iron that I think he's going to be using a lot this week, and it's just a fairway finder. I mean, he's like unbelievable with this thing, and I think he's going to use it a lot, and it's going to roll out pretty heavy for him. And so I
All right.
really do like that play, especially on those par fives.
Okay, so you're gonna do that. I say we bundle that with Bryson DeChambeau lower than 70.5 strokes. I think he's gonna be
Yes.
at least in the red tomorrow.
I like that better than the top five.
Yeah, the top five one takes some testicles, but I think, oh man, they got Ludwig at the same score too, is 70.5.
That probably checks out.
Yeah,
I mean they have Bryson and Ludwig both 15 to 1 to win it. So that probably checks out a lot there.
yeah. So you can do $25 on those two picks to win 70-50, which is not bad at all.
Not
Bryson
bad.
lower than 70.5 strokes. Tony Finau lower than 14 cumulative par five strokes. Locking it
Perfect.
in. I'm locking it in.
Lock it in. I'll
The
have to
only
lock
shitty
that
thing about
tonight
that
when
is I'm gonna have to wake up to that one, which there's no more anxious feeling than when you can at least sweat out your bets in person
right.
on TV. Let's purposely do this, Sammy Stats. Let's pick a daytime card. Let's pick a USA friendly card, which is people who are probably teeing off after 8 a.m.
Yeah,
So,
okay, let me get to that.
oh boy, it's all the live golfers. It's literally
See, we got
Brooks. You got
Kepka,
yeah,
Hideki,
Dustin
uh,
Johnson.
Clark, Xander Cantlay, Colin.
Oh,
Uh,
do we fade Xander? Do we just
yeah,
do?
I don't like Xander this week.
I don't either. I'm a Xander fan, but I agree this is not going to be his week. What part of his game do you want to fade here? What are you the most confident that he's going to not do? Because like we
Let
said,
me
folks, with
find
underdog, you can
him.
pick your least favorite picks too. What are we going to fade him on?
We're gonna fade Xander on.
Uh, Bogeys are worse. 2.5.
Yeah, that's tough. He makes a lot of pars. He does have some blow up holes though, which really kills him.
Yeah.
I like taking the lower on his fantasy points.
Okay.
26.15.
Okay. We can do
Because
that.
when you make a bogey or worse, you just get killed on those fantasy points. You get like -2 or -4. And you don't get, I think the pars, you might get like a half point or maybe 1 point for a par.
Yeah, those are
Uh,
tough to hit. I've done those before, and I've usually gotten beat pretty much every time.
yeah, I like the lower on him for the round one, 26.15 fantasy points. I just don't think he makes many birdies. I think if he's going to salvage his round, it's just going to be a bunch of pars. But yeah, no, I'm really just not a fan of him this week at
Yeah,
all.
yeah. What about hmm, what about Wyndham Clark higher than 71.5 strokes?
Wyndham's been a disaster.
Yeah, that's what
So
I'm saying, dude. They're
yeah.
taking him to the Olympics over Bryson, which is fucking bonkers.
Oh, that's
We talked
criminal,
about that
criminal.
enough.
Yeah, no, I like the higher there. I really just don't think he's having a really bad year.
Yeah, he's got the U.S. Open
And
hangover
he's
from
just
last year in the
not
Ryder
putting
Cup.
together enough good rounds at all.
No, no. Okay, so just for shits and gigs, do we want to make that a three-legger? Little daytime, little early
Yeah,
morning slot?
we can add one more.
Okay, okay. Cam Smith is on there.
Do they have
Um,
when's Corey? Corey hits like every fairway in the
Corey
books, but
Connors.
he's off at 620.
Yeah, I feel like
Not,
I used
not
to.
late enough.
I used to hit. Oh, what about some Jordan Spieth action? It's basically like a
Okay, yeah,
slot
fade
machine.
Jordan all day.
Slot machine. Um,
We
oh
could this
boy,
could just be an under or
or a higher.
a lower entry
Yeah.
or a higher for that
Or
matter.
this is just strictly a fade entry. He's fading Xander lower than 26.5 fantasy points. Fading Wyndham Clark by going over 71.5 strokes. Fading Jordan Spieth over 71.5 strokes. I
Yeah.
don't hate that. I think those
I
are
like.
three guys who aren't going to win this golf tournament.
I mean, they're just. I just don't see. I mean, Jordan, disaster.
Yeah, yeah,
He's had like one round in the mid 60s in his last like 15.
yeah. He's been
Um,
him and Wyndham. The only one that could scare me is Xander because he's capable of doing it. But like you
for
mentioned,
sure.
I think it's
Yeah, no,
yeah,
but that's why I think I think that Xander pick is on the sharp side.
yeah.
Because I think a lot of people will really like him this week,
Just
and
because he's won a major
I
this
just don't
year.
I just don't see it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Cool. All right, folks. Well, like we mentioned, Underdog Fantasy. You can take all of those picks. Use promo code 10K at sign up at underdogfantasy.com or the app. Put in up to $250. They're just going to match it. They're just going to
Yeah,
give you that money back pretty much in free
easy
play.
peasy. I
Yeah.
mean, why not, right?
Yeah. I mean, and worst case scenario, just hold on to it because we got football right around the corner.
For
I mean,
sure. It
think
makes
about
me
it.
want to create a new account so I
I
can take
know.
advantage of
I
it.
know, right? Yeah. If only they let you do that.
Right.
Yeah, but all right, Sammy, any other thoughts?
Yeah, just a couple other guys that I liked throwing a couple darts at this week. We'll start with Straka. Sepp Straka
Sep.
was top 5 last year at the British. He's 110 to 1. This guy, I don't know if he just really enjoys links golf or if it's something about the way it plays, the way his ball rolls, but he hits a lot of fairways. He's a pretty good putter. 110 to 1. I'm gonna take that all day. And then another guy who has struggled in the majors, but I mean, I see Max Homa at 90 to 1.
Yeah.
That's another guy. I know he's got the ability to win a big tournament. Will it be this week? I'm not sure, but if he really puts all pieces of his game together at 90 to 1, I'm going to sprinkle on that too. And then Hideki. I really like Hideki
Yeah.
this week
He's been in the
as
mix.
well. 55 to 1 on Hideki. I mean, I just some of these numbers I can't really wrap my head around why they're so high. But Hideki has won a Masters. He's a very good pick, as well. So I think those are kind of my three longer shots per se in the tournament that I threw a couple bucks on.
Love it. Love it. Yeah. I mean, those guys are Hideki's been in the mix this whole year.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd love to see Homa win. Homa's due for a major, especially after the Masters. What we're going to end the show on is a fun fact for you, thanks to Cam Smith. I believe you can fit 2.5 beers in the claret jug. Is that right?
I believe that's correct. And
Yeah,
whoever wins it, I'd be damned if they didn't try it.
exactly. Well, folks, that just about wraps it up. Thanks for hanging out, talking golf with us. Make sure to follow 10K Bets on all socials. Make sure to follow 10K Takes if you haven't already on all socials. We hope you guys have a great week of watching the last major of the year in the Open Championship, and we'll find out who our champion golfer of the year is come Sunday afternoon. So enjoy the golf,
Yeah.
folks, and we'll see you next time.